I know we got another Q&A session here. Yeah, exciting week. We were just kind of talking before we started the recording that our boy Hayden Buckley is in the tour championship, if you will, of the Corn Ferry Tour. So he's sitting 3 under right now. If I'm pretty sure, basically, I was going back and forth with Adam Long a couple days ago via text, and I'm like, all right, Adam, what does this mean? Like, what he's got 170 points. I don't even know what the point wise, what that looks like. And he said he was texting with his guy on the Corn Ferry Tour that does all the data, and basically 175 points will probably get you a card, and 200 points guarantees you a card. And he basically said that Hayden just pretty much needs to make the cut. He's like, just make the cut, and all these questions go away. So he's sitting at tied for fourth right now, and
Yeah, he tied for fourth with, but yeah, -3, -6 is winning right now. That's pretty good. It's a pretty good start.
Yeah, so if he can just kind of hang on and make the cut, and then ultimately win this thing this weekend, that'd be pretty good, because it all works on, even if all the guys that are in the top 25, it still matters if you're number one or if you're 25 for how much status you get, how many events you get invited to. It's kind of like a pecking order kind of a thing. So that would be pretty sweet. If he makes a cut, I'm heading up to Victoria National on Saturday morning, and I'm going to spend 2 nights there and hopefully be there to celebrate him getting his tour card. That'd be pretty sweet.
That would be awesome. Yeah, it's a mixed bag. So Murphy, my 11-year-old son, has a tweaked foot, but he has a soccer tournament this weekend, so I really can't lose. Obviously, I want the kid to be healthy and be able to play in a soccer tournament, but if he can't, then I can join you on this trip to Indiana and celebrate a guy changing his life by getting his PGA card, which is, that would be something else.
Yeah, like I said, I never want to root against Murphy, but this is the one case that maybe he should rest that foot a little bit longer and not give it a go on the soccer tournament. So so what else we have on the books? I know we got a couple questions in the queue. I see Keith, welcome to the call. See that you're on here. I'm sure we'll have some other folks joining in pretty soon. But if you have any questions that you want us to answer live here, as I said, we've got several of them that we've already got kind of in the queue ready to go that people have already sent in. But just throw it in the chat, or just let us know you have a question in the chat. We're happy to call on you and bring you into the fold here. But what else is cooking, Rhino?
You're frozen for a second, but now I can see you moving again. It was a couple of days that we've gotten a lot of questions about cardio, which is kind of a pretty misunderstood form of exercise. I think because it got so dang popular when I think to look and jogging got, or soft J, Ron Burgundy, jogging when that got so popular, and now everybody, and I'm just as guilty, years ago, especially coming from the soccer world, we're just as guilty as falling back on, I want to get into shape, I'm just going to go for a run. And I think a lot of people do that, and we've gotten a little pushback from people lately. So yeah, kind of, I would start there. What's the I want to say the advantage of cardio. It's out there. I hate doing it, so it's hard for me to get on board with it. But yeah, kind of explain like what got this whole conversation started yesterday and today.
Yeah, so we basically, and I apologize if I'm freezing up a little bit. We continue to battle this Wi-Fi issue, and I'm even at my house today, so it shouldn't be a problem. Check my speeds and everything, looked good. But yeah, I mean, regarding the cardio stuff, so we put out a video recently that we put out on Facebook as an ad, and basically saying that cardio is not the best thing for golfers to do, or not the best way to maximize your time for golfers if you're looking to start a fitness program, or you're on this journey of fitness to play better golf, which I know that a lot of our guys and gals are that are part of the crew. And basically the guy that commented, and I completely understand where he's coming from. He said it's irresponsible to say that cardio is bad for people and that we should preface it differently. And so the response that we gave was, and the response that I stand by is, I have nothing against cardio, and cardio can be used for many things. Obviously, for fat loss, there's benefits for fat loss. There's benefit for sport. There's benefit for endurance. I mean, as a soccer player, we had to run. We had to do cardio because that's the way that you build up that energy system of endurance. But if we're looking at, what's the most beneficial thing? If you're going to start a fitness program that's geared towards improving your golf game, cardio is not where I would start. In fact, it's several tiers down the line. First thing that we want our guys doing is working on moving better and working on building strength through resistance training. One of the best ways that I heard it put was being able to move better against resistance, from one of the guys that I've worked with and trained with. And the reason that we do that is because cardio is, like you said, I think back when jogging became a thing, it immediately got really popular, or maybe not immediately, but it got popular over the years. But it's also really easy to do. I mean, it's really there's a low barrier of entry for you to go out and jog. And I fall into the same trap. It's kind of like, man, I feel like I need to do something. I feel like I need to exercise. Well, the easiest thing to do is just throw your shoes on and go jog to the park or jog around the park, take the dog for a run, whatever that might be. And that is a way to burn calories. That's a way to ultimately burn fat. But if you're a golfer, you need to do more than just that motion of whatever it is, jogging, or we use the treadmill, we use the elliptical, we use the bike. The Peloton obviously is a huge thing that people are doing, and even a lot of the tour pros. We saw Rory, we saw Justin Thomas, we saw all these guys kind of like almost battling it out on the Peloton during COVID as a form of exercise. But when I look at what do my guys need to do fitness wise, you got a guy that comes to see me in the gym. He's 30 years old, 40 years old, 50 years old, 60 years old, 70 years old. They come to see me and it's like, I want to get better at golf. I know I'm out of shape. What should I do? First thing I'm going to have them do is just start moving his joints, doing our daily motion routine, getting things moving better, because ultimately these guys want to have a better golf swing. They want to feel better when they swing the club. They want their body to be able to do the things that they want to do when they're out there on the golf course. Jogging isn't going to impact that a whole lot. Being on the treadmill, being on the elliptical isn't going to impact that a whole lot. So we want to get them moving, and then we want to start building resistance, because that resistance is also going to help kind of facilitate the power, facilitate the balance, and facilitate your awareness of your own body in space, which I think ultimately really helps with the golfers. Allows them to feel the ground. If we're doing lower body exercises, or we're doing cable rotations or bands or things like that, they're learning how to naturally stabilize, create rotation, create force, create power. None of the things that cardio is going to give them when they are just doing that for a long duration of time. And then probably the one big area where we get pushback is that cardio is one of the best ways to lose weight. When you really boil it down, the best way to lose weight is to control what you're eating, first of all. Second is that I rarely do any real cardio. Same with you, Rhino. I know, and both of us have kind of gone through body transformations over the last 5 to 10 years, and I would say that we're both in probably the best physical composition shape. Composition meaning body, where your body fat is, or close to, with doing very little cardio. And it's because when you build strength, you're fighting resistance in your exercises. You're going to be building muscle. Muscle is ultimately a fat burning engine. So when you go and you do your treadmill or long cardio, yeah, you're burning those calories while you're doing that exercise. But if you don't build your muscle mass, the calories that you burn at rest is going to stay the same. If you increase your muscle mass, your body all of a sudden needs to burn more calories because you have more muscle, and it does that at rest. most of the calories that we burn. So if we're on a fat loss program, we're really trying to, you know, we're trying to really trim down, we're trying to lose weight. You're going really hard on your diet. You're working out 5, 6 days a week. Even during that hardcore period where you're working out, maybe you're crushing it. You're going super hard in your workouts. You're still not burning as many calories during your workouts as you are the rest of the day when you're just walking around, you're resting, you're sleeping. So what we need to do is teach our bodies, build our bodies into fat burning machines. And the way that you can increase that is simply increase your muscle mass. The way you increase your muscle mass is you work on resistance training, and that way you're building muscle. You don't have to. We're not talking about getting big and bulky, but we're just talking about improving your muscle mass in general, and that's going to ultimately be way more effective in the long term than cardio is in that respect.
Yeah, I think it's a real easy way to think about it is like when you're Olympics and you see the marathon runners. So you see the guy from Kenya who weighs 130 pounds, soaking wet, who is, just a bone. And then you see the sprinters who are just brick shit houses who can be, every one of them can be on the cover of any Men's Health magazine. Because the way they train, like those sprinters are not doing much cardio. That I would guess. I can't imagine Usain Bolt going for a 6 mile jog during his training.
Yeah, I mean he's working on more of his explosive speed. So and maybe he goes and does a longer run every now and then. I'm not super familiar with a sprinter's training protocol, but if he does that too much, he's basically kind of training his body to slow down as opposed to those quick bursts of speed. And that's where again, golf is really, it's a power sport over a long period of time. I don't really consider it we think of it as an endurance sport because it's so long, but really in between your swings, you're walking. So what we need to do is figure out how to conserve as much energy as much energy and then exert as much force for every swing under control. But in order to do that, you have to have power and balance and speed, and just that repetitious, running. That's not going to give you that power or speed. And then also, if you just look at movement patterns, golfers, we need to rotate. We need to do all these different things. If you're on your Peloton and you're cranking away, first of all, I mean, you're just inviting tight hip flexors and back pain if that's all you do. So that's why we feel it's so important with all of our programs that we get you moving in so many different directions. We get you moving through those different movement patterns, but then, like our push, our pull, our squats, our lunges, our deadlifts, but then we also vary it with different rotations or anti-rotation or one arm or two arm or one leg, because we know that there's so many different directions that you have to go or that your body has to go during your swing or even during your walk up and down these hills, that again, if you're just in one position for your exercise, you're just grooving that same pattern and you're not really branching out and creating any more benefit for what you got to do in your golf swing.
I actually thought of it like this when you it's very much like football. So football, it's 40 seconds between plays. The play takes, I don't know, 5 seconds, and then all out, just like it's just like 110% swing, then you will wait.
Mm-hmm.
And the same thing for football. I'm going to patent that somehow, or copyright. That Ryan said that golf is like football.
Golf is like football. Yeah, I never really put thought of it that way either. But you're not going to send a linebacker out to go run 5 miles. You need that guy to be explosive, and you need him to be able to do that over and over and over again. But sending him out to just jog on the treadmill, that's not where you would start with him, right? So
no, absolutely not. And like especially carrying weight around like that I think tons of those guys would get hurt on the treadmill. just, I mean, your knees aren't made for 450 pounds bouncing around on the treadmill all the time.
Right. Now let's kind of look at this. I mean, in the email that we put out today, we also said like, hey, first and foremost, we just want you doing something. So
Right.
if that something is that you enjoy going out for a jog, you enjoy going out for a walk, you hate lifting weights, that's cool. I would much rather see you do that than do nothing. If you're asking me what's the best thing I can do right now, um, like I said, cardio is not, that's going to be several ticks down my list. If you're very overweight, if you have trouble moving and getting out and just walking the park, do it. Get out and walk the golf course, do it. So we're not totally anti cardio. In fact, I told you I signed up for the trail run, so I'm going to be doing quite a bit of running in the near future, but more so because that's what I need to do to train for the event that I'm going to be doing. I need to train for trail running by running trails or running running the roads or whatever.
Yeah.
I see Keith's got a comment here. Let's see. I've been an 18 strong member for a while, but not necessarily the most consistent. I've made a commitment for the next 3 months to prepare for a golf trip in November. I love this.
Nice.
I need to lose weight and I've done the fat loss workout. Should I continue with this workout or mix in some of the monthly workouts? So yeah, great question, Keith. You could definitely mix in some of the monthly workouts. So if, like we just said, if fat loss is ultimately your goal, the workouts are going to be great, but it's really going to come down to the food that you're eating and the dietary stuff. That's the biggest thing that's going to make a difference when it comes to really trimming down. For the workouts, the structure of the monthly workouts are going to be very much, well, similar to the fat loss blueprint. The volume is not going to be quite the same though. So the fat loss blueprint was designed to have a little bit more volume in there. But my biggest thing would be, if you haven't really dialed in some of the dietary stuff, that's where I would then put your emphasis. So you could go back and do the fat loss program and let's help you dial that in a little bit. And we're obviously here to help. Send an email if you need some help with that. We're happy to help you kind of figure that out a little bit. Our first suggestions would be a couple things. Eliminate the snacking. That's always been a big one for our guys. Try to just go with 2 or 3 meals during the day, because that just kind of gets rid of the grazing. It gets rid of some of the unnecessary calories. Make sure that each meal or each eating opportunity, you have some sort of good protein, and then you've got a lot of vegetables. And vegetables I want at all 3 meals. So breakfast, lunch, dinner, or wherever you space those out, we want vegetables in your meals. And then really try to lay off the starchy carbs and things like that. Ideally only eat something like that. And I'm talking like pastas, breads, even rice, those kind of things. Lay off those a little bit more. And we try to only do those if we've worked out that day. So hopefully that helps out a little bit. But again, if you need some assistance with that, by all means, let us know.
Yeah. Well, they say 6-pack abs are made in the kitchen.
That's totally true.
All right. Okay. Yeah, I've got a couple of questions that came ahead in the queue here. So this one's from our friend Marina. I'm surprised she's not here today.
Yeah, she sent an email and said that she could not make the adjusted time. So I told her make sure she checks the replay because we'll definitely get to her question. And you're welcome, Keith. Thanks for being here, buddy.
Okay, so hey Jeff, I'm suffering from weakness in my knees and they tend to get achy quite easily. I try to do as many squats as possible, but at the moment that's not so many. Any suggestions how to strengthen my knees? Many thanks.
Yeah, so first of all, with the aching knees, just dietary wise, making sure that you're kind of trying to eat as cleanly as possible, staying really hydrated. Hydration can help with some of that stuff. And then even, if you're not taking like a fish oil, not that I can recommend or prescribe supplements, but fish oil can help with some anti-inflammatory type stuff. But as far as the squats go and the achy knees are concerned, I would say that there's a couple things to do. First of all, I'd like to see the squat and how, what it looks like. So it's kind of hard to give somebody specific instructions without seeing the exercise being done. But sometimes just adjusting the exercise a little bit can help. So if you're not elevating your heels, oftentimes people that have difficulty getting into a full squat, they have ankle issues that are preventing them from getting all the way down. So if you throw your heels up on like a 2-inch block or even a weight or something, that can help with the ability to get down a little bit lower. I would also focus on doing some almost kind of isometric strengthening of the quadricep muscles. So, when you look at, let me see if I can back up here a little bit. I don't know if I can far enough, but the quadriceps are these muscles right here. So if you straighten out, you've got kind of the inside and then, the other quads here. One of the things that I do with a lot of my clients that have any kind of pain or have any kind of discomfort with their knees or weakness is I will have them wrap a rubber band around like the squat rack and almost loop it. So they can loop it around the squat rack and then they loop it around the back of the knee and then just really straighten the knee all the way out against the resistance of the band and really squeeze that quad muscle as hard as they can. Hold it for 5 seconds and do that 10 times in a row and kind of alternate sides. What that's going to do is it's really going to kind of turn on the quads and make sure that they're working properly. Another issue when people are having difficulty or discomfort getting into a full squat is simply some of the hip mobility stuff. They're not able to get down deeper into the position of the squat because their hips are a little bit tight and it's almost kind of throwing them off a little bit. So I know Marina is pretty faithful with all of her daily motions, but getting in those figure 4 positions and working on that a little bit would be definitely another suggestion that I have. And then if you're doing any of well, first of all, you could just kind of adjust and move over to like a split squat or a step up and work on building some of the strength without having to go into the same squat pattern that causes the discomfort. Do an assisted split squat where you're able to get through the full range of motion, go all the way down to the floor and really just kind of feel those positions. And then when you come up to the top again, squeeze the quads and make sure that you're working on getting a nice good contraction there.
Nice. So along the same lines with achy knees, a buddy and I were actually talking out on the pitch about like if I walk or if I play soccer, depending upon the field, and this, if we play on hard fields, like the next day I can barely walk down the stairs. Same thing, walk outside with the dog and I wear the wrong shoes, the next day I can feel it. Is there something that would help like post workout to get that fluid going? Or is it just you're 45 years old, you're gonna have to deal with achy knees a little bit?
So you're saying that it's your knees that are hurting after those?
Yeah, same exact thing like Marina was talking about. Just the day after where they're just achy if I do the wrong thing.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I would suggest doing even this isn't in our daily motion, but you can kind of do a little bit of a cars or like joint mobility movement for the knees too. And it's really just kind of, hooking your arm. I need a wider camera angle. Hook your arm under your leg, and then you can kind of straighten the leg up, turn your foot in, and then when you go down, you're going to kind of turn it back out. So up and down that way. And then reverse. So what I'm doing is I'm actually getting this rotation of the joint here. Yep. As I'm going up, as I'm going down. So that's one thing, just to again kind of get that pumping of the fluid there. The other thing is if you're not doing some, like, you could do like a quad stretch and a little hamstring stretch, even hip flexor stretch after your round or after your soccer game, or even, if it's after walking the dog or whatever it might be. But I think sometimes if you're not, if those muscles are kind of reacting and they're tight after your activity, doing some sort of stretch afterwards, almost like a cool down stretch, because that's going to help prevent those muscles from tightening up. A lot of times our muscles end up tightening up, and the knee pain can be caused from the kneecap almost not really gliding properly. And sometimes that's simply just tightness of the kind of the outer portion of the thighs, not letting the kneecap glide properly. So give that a shot and see if that helps out.
Oh, and I will. Yeah, that's pretty good. For a guy who has to shave 5 times a day, you don't have any hair on your legs. When you, when you put your legs up there, you look like a bald little girl.
Do you want me to bring it closer to the camera? Because I definitely do.
No, I don't. Hey, John and Bill, what's going on, guys?
Yeah, welcome to the call, guys. If you have a question, obviously throw it in the chat box, or just put a little note in there and we'll bring you on and let you ask it yourself.
Nice.
Thanks for being here.
Okay, so the next question in the queue was, I'm in week 5 of Activate, and based upon your answer last week, I will redo it again when I get to the end, as it seems that this is the best program for a home gym with limited equipment. Can the weight be increased for the exercises? What should I be concerned or focused on the second go around? And then what's the alternative for the lat pull down exercise? I've just substituted rows. So 3 questions. So can the weight be increased? What should be looking for to stay out of trouble? And then what's the alternative for the lat pull down?
Got it. So first of all, I would say that the Activate program and the Golf Body Blueprint can both be done as long as you have some dumbbells and resistance band. Most of the exercises are demonstrated with a cable in those programs, but if you have a resistance band that you can attach to something, that will allow you to do the Golf Body Blueprint too. So if you're tired of doing the Activate program and you want to move on to the Golf Body Blueprint, don't be afraid that you're not going to be able to do everything because you don't have the right equipment. If you have the equipment to do the Activate, you should be able to pretty much, I think, do everything from my recollection in the Golf Body Blueprint. As far as the weights are concerned, again, that's going to depend on what equipment you have, what resistance bands you have. Can you scoot back with the resistance band to create a little bit more tension? Or do you have dumbbells? Can you increase the weight on the dumbbells? That, again, is going to be dictated by your ability to stay within those rep ranges and do the exercise with complete control and perfect posture and everything else that we talked about, great tempo, all of those things. So I would say I would highly encourage that, yes, you do try to increase the resistance as you're moving through these programs. And personally, if I'm working with somebody in person or if I'm in my own workout, I'm trying to, if I can, increase the weight every single set. Now, the first set that I do, I purposefully will start a little bit lighter than what I know what is my max capability, because again, it's kind of that you're still kind of in the warm-up routine. I recommend maybe doing a couple warm-up sets before you even start what we call your working sets. But I like to try to increase the weight almost every single set if I can. And then when you get to the set that you hit that, minimum number of reps, or even the maximum number of reps, and you're like, man, that was pretty challenging, then you can kind of stay at that weight. But then the next week, see if you can go just a little bit more. I know that can be tough when you have limited equipment at home. So if you are really limited with the equipment, then that's when I would say just slow down the part of the exercise that we already have as the slow part of the exercise. We call it the eccentric portion of the exercise. But when we're doing those tempos and you hear me say 3, 2, 1, see if you can make that 4 seconds or even 5 seconds, just to create a little bit more tension there. And then as far as the lat pull down, The best thing that I've found is if you have a rubber band, it's ideal. You can, depending on your situation, some people are doing it in their basement. They can loop a band over the beam, and they could kind of do pull down that way. If you have just one thing you can attach it to, you could even do kind of a single arm pull down. You could sit on the ground and pull it down. You could kneel and try to mimic kind of that squeezing back of the shoulder blades where you're pulling it down this way. If you don't have that, then yes, some sort of a seated or standing horizontal row would work. Or you could even do dumbbells, where you're bent over doing a dumbbell row. The pull down is basically a vertical rowing motion. So this would be a horizontal row. This would be kind of a vertical row. So if you can mimic that in some way, shape, or form with a band, that's going to be best. It's really hard. There's not really a great way to be able to do that with a dumbbell, unfortunately.
Would a pull up be the similar thing?
Yeah, I mean, if you can do a full pull up, I should have gone straight there. If you can do a full pull up, in fact, in the programs, I don't really tend to put pull-ups in on these programs because I know it's not really an exercise that many people can do very well. But you are always welcome to substitute a lat pull down with a pull-up move. The pull-up is by far one of the greatest exercises known to man because it's not just a back exercise. It's working your abdominals, it's working your shoulders, your shoulder blades. It's doing so much that a pull-up is a great alternative, but it's a very hard one. So, and if there's a way that you can situate it where you can hook a band around your knee or something, if you need assistance on that pull up, then go ahead and do it. But a lot of people don't have that ability with their setups.
Yeah, that's a tough one because I remember just getting started, just I can barely bust out one. So it's like, am I really getting much of a workout here?
Yeah.
Just,
And the way that you can do that, if you're just starting and you do have a pull-up bar, but there's no way you can do a pull-up. One thing you can do is get something that you can stand on. Now, I'm going to preface this with saying that many people, especially us gentlemen that are, like I have clients that are 60, 70 years old that I'm not going to put them on a pull-up unless I know that it's very controlled or they're very skilled and have some background in it. I would say you could get up, get some stairs built up or a box or something like that where you can get all the way up, kind of like the old, when we were in gym class, we used to have to do that hang. I was a fat kid back in grade school and I couldn't do a full pull-up. So I had to do the hang, right? So, you get the bar under your chin and you just kind of hold there. Or if you have a hammer grip, I prefer the hammer grip because it's a little easier on the shoulders. Do the hammer grip, or you can do that and just hold there for 10 seconds and then try to slowly lower yourself down, or even just get up there and start and then just slowly lower yourself down without holding up at the top for 10 seconds, depending on how, what your level is. But working on that, again, that's the eccentric. Working on controlling yourself down is ultimately going to help you be able to pull yourself up.
cool. All right. So I've got a couple that were on the phone here.
Yeah. Oh, and just another word on the pull up and the lat pull down. If you guys have listened to any of the podcasts that we did with our buddy Tony Soib, the lats are a major factor in being able to help increase your speed. And so about that too, the fact that that's one of the big things that he focuses on is building the strength and speed and his ability to use the lats, because it helps, when you're in this position and you're pulling down, that the lats are right here. And that's what's helping to pull that arm down into position when you're getting into the ball.
Nice. Okay. So Jeff, question for you. Between a combination of following a keto diet over the last 3 months and using the Daily Motion and other 18 Strong routines, I have lost almost 30 pounds. That's awesome.
Nice.
So thank you. But here's the question. Have you had golfers tell you after such a change that their golf swing, for me, the woods, they are out of sync? I feel like a beginner hitting a longer club. Thanks in advance. So when you drop 30 pounds, does it affect your swing?
In my head, I'm thinking of Tiny Elvis from Saturday Night Live. Look at that golf club. That golf club is huge. So, yeah, this kind of almost goes back a little bit to some of the conversation we had about John Daly last week and Shane Lowry and those guys, and why those guys aren't necessarily looking. And John Daly will kind of take out of the equation, but let's talk a guy like Shane Lowry now, who is a very athletic dude, very strong, obviously a great golfer, but his training staff does not want him to go and lose 40 or 50 pounds and look like Rory McIlroy, because they know that it will affect his swing. And right now, his main objective is to play his best golf, right? To earn as much money as he possibly can. Not to say that over time he might trim out a little bit, but a huge drastic change. So for this guy, what was his name, Rhino?
It's cut off.
Okay. It might have been Brian, I think. So for him to make a change of 30 pounds, that's a big change. So your body, yeah, it's going to take some time for you to adjust to that. Unless, over the course of this 30-pound loss, you've continued to play a lot of golf, you've been continuing to practice a lot, then it'll be a little bit more gradual. But if you're a guy, like most of us, where maybe you get out once or twice a week and you do, you play a little bit, it's going to affect you a lot more, because your body's just not used to swinging that club with that less amount of mass. And so now that's why the club feels bigger, probably feels heavier, because his body's not able to generate as much force as easily as it used to. It probably takes him a little more effort to swing a little bit. Now, hopefully he's gotten stronger going through the programs too, but 30 pounds is a lot of mass to lose. So it's not surprising to me that he feels a little bit different. I mean, ultimately in the long run, I think he's going to be really happy that he lost the 30 pounds, because for so many other things, and he's going to get the coordination and control and all that stuff back if he continues to work on the strength and the speed. That's going to come back. So for us normal dudes, I love the fact that he went out and hit it pretty hard and lost 30 pounds. Shane Lowry, he could screw up his entire season if he went on a massive diet and lost a bunch of weight. And we've seen that with some guys. I'm trying to remember the one guy's name. He was a foreigner. Is there a Carl Pedersen maybe? But I remember him saying that really screwed up his swing when he lost a bunch of weight. Duffner says the same thing. That, he got really skinny and then he kind of fell off the map for a little bit. So yeah, again, that just shows that body composition, the way that your body looks, doesn't always equate to the guy that looks fitter is going to be a better golfer. There's so much skill and everything involved in all of it that there's a lot of pieces to this puzzle.
Yeah, for sure. So I saw Bill had his hand up. I've never seen the hand up before. Bill, if you have a question, if you want to type it in there, or we can call on you.
Yeah, or unmute yourself. Feel free to unmute yourself.
Here, let me.
Can you get him right now?
Can you hear me?
There he is.
There we go.
What's up, Bill?
Okay. All right. I'm just wondering. I have a TRX, system too. And do you ever incorporate anything from something like that?
You know what? The TRX is a great tool. In fact, that's a great answer to the question before, where the gentleman asked about not being able to do a lat pull down, because you can strap the TRX up and you can kind of lean back and do some of those rows there. I use the TRX with clients in person at the gym a fair amount. I can't say that I use it every day or every couple of days, but there's some great exercises that we do use. Some core strength related exercises, sometimes even just push-ups. When we're doing some of our pressing exercise, doing the push-ups on that, because it's kind of an unsteady where you really have to brace, almost like a gymnast. So there's some great exercises that you can do with those, any kind of those suspension trainers. We haven't put them in our program again, Bill, just so far because we've tried to build out some of these generalized programs, and there's so few people that actually have the TRX available to them that we haven't done that. Now, maybe in the future, that's an opportunity to create even like a suspension training option where we can kind of create some small little workouts just based around something like that, like the TRX. We've even talked about doing that for a couple different things, like small kettlebell workout, TRX workout, band workout. So you know that if you have that one apparatus, that you're able to do kind of the whole workout. So, but yeah, long answer to your question. I do love the TRX and some of the exercises that you can do with those.
Thank you.
Sure.
Yeah, they're pretty awesome. My wife Kendra uses them quite a bit. She likes to work out outside. So I have my Jeep and she ties it on the roll cage all the time.
Yeah.
And 10 times a week I'll drive away with that thing. Like, what is that noise? Oh, it's this damn TRX things flapping in the wind. Like, oh, I'm gonna beat this lady.
That's right. You were at the gym. We were trying to haul something away, and I was like, "Oh, sweet, you got the straps." And you're like, "No, that's Kendra's TRX. That's her exercise gym attached to my Jeep."
Yeah, frother. All right. So last call here, fellas, for the live questions. Let me get to the last one I had here. Okay. So, hello, I'm a 68-year-old golfer just coming back after a 20-year layoff. I have a specific question regarding my right inner thigh, or I guess you can call it a groin injury. Twice now, I have pulled or strained this area at the driving range. Is there something I can do to strengthen this specific area? It becomes quite painful on the follow through. Thanks so much.
Yes, this is one that I experienced not too long ago. I think 3 or 4 years ago, every year we go down to the Lake of the Ozarks and we go play a couple rounds at a great course down there called Porto Chima, and they have one of the coolest practice facilities, greatest driving ranges. So I'm out there, and I'm out there kind of thinking I'm a big shot. I got my super speed clubs there, and there's also time to go and just kind of practice and goof around during our weekend. So I'm up there thinking, oh, you know what? I'll bring the super speed clubs out there. I'll bring my little radar monitor out there and see how fast I'm hitting my driver. And so as I'm going through the bag, warming up, all of a sudden I go to do a couple quick swings, and may or may I'm pretty sure I did a little bit of a warm up too. So just kind of goes to show you that just don't be stupid. So I just start trying to rip balls as fast as I can, and sure enough, I'm like, oh man, I felt a little twinge in the groin area. And then go out to play a round of golf later that afternoon, and it's like every single swing you end up feeling that. And I can remember being there thinking, you know what, I need to make sure that we put something in our program to make sure that these guys get stronger in this particular area, because again, that the growing muscles are such a stabilizer for the side to side motion. So as we're working on shifting our pressure, getting into the right leg, getting into the left leg, you're pushing off that right side, it's really easy to create a lot of stress and force through those muscles. So that's where it becomes really imperative to do some of the stuff that we have in our programs where like sometimes we'll put in like a lateral lunge, or even there's one of the dynamic warm-ups that we do. I think we call it the tactical frog, or maybe the half tactical frog, where you're kind of kneeling on one knee and then you've got your other leg straight out and you're kind of rocking back and forth to create a little bit of a stretch and dynamic movement on those muscles. But that's where those muscles, like I said, they help you stabilize in your lateral movement. That's again why something like just moving in a straight plane motion, just running or biking or elliptical, or just doing straight squats and straight lunges. Lunges are pretty good because they will kind of tax that area a little bit, but that's where you got to also get some different motions in there. And that's why I love the fact that we have not only our lift programs that are a little bit more like straight plane for the most part. Sometimes we try to get some of that movement in there, but then our move programs that we have in there are meant to get you moving in these different directions so you can kind of create some tension. Again, it's all about getting those muscles used to the fact that there's going to be tension on them. So when you do go out to the range and you're an idiot and you're trying to swing as fast as you possibly can, that they're ready to handle that. So I would say make sure that you're doing some of the things that are more in that lateral motion or diagonal motion for the lower body. Look up that tactical frog exercise that we have for a nice, good, kind of dynamic warm up and stretch of those muscles. That's probably one of the best little warm ups that you could do before you go and play if you know that you've had that issue. The other thing you can do if you're really wanting to get out there and it's causing you problems, that it can be a very nagging long-term injury, kind of like we were talking about with Ryan's son Murphy. When he's got an ankle and foot thing going on, it can be a long nagging injury. There's a couple wrapping techniques where you can just kind of take an ace bandage and wrap that up a little bit. If you know you have to go out and play or you have to go do something where it's gonna cause some discomfort, just wrapping the groin area, almost a straight wrap around the thigh, all the way up into the crease of your groin, and then you can kind of loop it once around your hip to make sure it doesn't go anywhere. That can help reduce the stress and strain, just like you would put a band on your elbow if you're having tennis elbow issues. It's going to reduce the stress, but again, just kind of temporarily. It's not a full fix, because we want to make sure that we're hitting the root of the problem, not just band-aiding it.
All right, very good. The queue is clear, so we are ready to rock.
All right. You got a screen on our boy Hayden Buckley that we can close off with real quick? See where he's where he's sitting?
I just had, let me refresh Google. Oh yeah, -5, sitting tied for second. Look at this guy.
He's coming to play. The guy's a gamer, man. He has a flair for the dramatics. So fingers crossed. Tell Murphy to ice up, not to ice it up, but tell Murphy to just lay low on that ankle this weekend, and I'll pick you up Saturday morning. We'll go to Victoria National.
All right, I'll be there.
All right, guys. Thanks for joining us on the Q&A again this week, and we look forward to seeing you again next week.
All right, see you, fellas.
All right, adios.